And when we talk about the unions, we're not just talking about the unions. Who are we talking about? We are talking about nursing home workers. We are talking about school bus drivers. We are talking about custodians, school librarians, administrative assistants, and many more. This is who we are talking about. And it is very easy to see the strategy that this government has had on Bill 17. Step number 1. Wait to the last minute, right before Christmas, to present the bill. Step 1, that's your strategy. Step 2 of the government strategy, Mr. Speaker, never talk about who is involved and the important jobs they do for our society. Like I said, we have nursing home workers working with the most vulnerable people in our society. We have bus drivers, custodians, school librarians, administrative assistants, keeping our children safe day in and day out. But instead, this government chooses to call them union bosses. Depersonalize them. That's the strategy. Let's depersonalize them to mislead New Brunswickers in an us versus them communication strategy. We are protecting you from the very, very bad union bosses. That's the government strategy. Step number 3, give the general population the impression that there is actual debate on the bill. Make it look like there's a pushback, all while whipping your vote. We had meetings, Mr. Speaker, about, and you've seen it, there's a motion on the floor to prolong debate on this bill 2 days. Why? The decision's already taken. This, Mr. Speaker, this government has taken that decision, that they are going to push this bill through no matter what. And when we look at that, why are we sitting 2 extra days? Step number 3, give the impression that we've debated this bill. And the last speaker, Mr. Speaker, the Minister for Petal, says that she hopes that we're going to get answers, that we're going to address these important questions that were asked. In 5 days? We're going to address those in 5 days when merely no government people on the government side get up to address these questions, to talk about it? They've been skipping their turn after turn. We have one minister that got up, and that's it. If they want to address those questions, this is not the place to do it. The place to do it would be back at the negotiation table. That's a good place to do it. Go talk to the unions. Talk to the custodians. Talk to the school librarians. Talk to the nursing home workers. Or let's go into committee and let's have everyone be able to bring in their point of view. Not this communication strategy that the government's been working on for the past 2 years to do exactly the contrary on what they signed. The signing of the MOU was dishonest. The signing of it was dishonest, Mr. Speaker, because I do not think at any point that this government had the intentions of keeping their word on what they signed here. And look at how it was worded. In the unlikely event the parties are unable to agree on some of the matters in the process of amending the current plan or creating a new pension plan, they will submit the outstanding issue to a board made up of 2 actuaries, one appointed by each party and a chairperson designated by the actuary appointed by the parties. It is understood that this third person will be associated with one of the following actuary firms: PBI, Buck Eckler, Mercers, or another appropriate professional as mutually agreed to by the parties. If the parties are unable to agree to the chairperson shall be chosen by random from the above list. The board's decision will be final and binding. This was signed, I can't even read the date. The person that wrote it was not very, didn't have a good hand, but sometime in April, Mr. Speaker. I don't know the date. I can't even make out the number. But that's a detail that doesn't have to be discussed here. But that was signed by Ernie Steeves. Sorry, Mr. Speaker, I take that back. It was signed by the Minister of Finance. And if I'm not mistaken, I thought I saw the the Minister of Education at that time on one of these forms. That being said, Mr. Speaker, nowhere in that memorandum of agreement they talk about shared risk being the only option. And what the government is trying to do with this bill is to impose 3 different shared risk options. So they've always had that in mind. They've always known what they wanted to do. And I could not see in any way how the signing of this document was made with the intent to actually negotiate anything, Mr. Speaker. Now I'm only at step 3. Let's get back to that. Step 4, Mr. Speaker. And this one's an interesting one, Mr. Speaker. Have technical briefings every day to bury the news. So we've had one in the past week. We've had one of there was early childhood education. What did they say? We're going to do what we said we were going to do about a year ago. Then we had one on French immersion in the English school system. What did they say? We're going to do what we said about a year ago. They had one on AIMS this morning. And I'm not saying that these are not important issues that we need to address. But I'm saying that the week before Christmas and 2 weeks before the Christmas break, for this House, having technical briefings every single day since this bill has been introduced seems to me like a communication strategy, Mr. Speaker. Step 5. Step 5. If all else fails, bring in the closure motion right before Christmas, when less people are watching. We'll have to wait and see tomorrow, Mr. Speaker, if I was right on that one.